Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we will be looking at a podcast app called Snipd. This app is just like the previous app that I had reviewed called Momento. If you have watched the first video on Momento, you will remember that this is a 3-video series. This is the second video of the series. So the first video was about Momento, this video will be about Snipd, and the third video will be about my review and a comparison of Snipd and Momento. So both videos about Momento and Snipd will concentrate on especially note taking and how to export your highlights. As I mentioned in the video for Momento, I will not be reviewing the whole features of the podcast app, just mainly related to the highlights and in relation to note taking. Please do not forget that this review has been performed on an Android device. I have communicated with the Snipd guys, and they tell me that there is only very minor differences between iOS app and the Android app. So if you are an iOS user, anything that you will see and hear in this video is applicable to iOS as well. I would like to remind that I am not sponsored in any way by Snipd or by Momento when I'm doing these reviews. So please consider subscribing and liking the video before we start. You may also support me by buying me a coffee or becoming a Patreon. Both links are in the description or in the About section of my channel. So, without wasting more time, let's get started. Before going into the export details, I should really explain what really stands out for Snipd, especially the features that I really like. So I will just cast my Snipd screen, my phone screen, and show you on my phone as we go along. Yes. Okay. I will enlarge it a little bit so that everybody can see properly. Okay, so let's start with as you can see, I have a podcast, the Knowledge Project, a famous podcast in relation to which was made with Naval Ravikant. You should definitely listen to this podcast if you are interested in let's say how Naval Ravikant sees Buddhist philosophy and how he integrates it into his life. Anyway, a small parenthesis there, and now we will continue. So the thing that I like about one of the things that I like about Snipd is that, as you can see, there are already they have divided the podcast already into chapters. So these are already there when you open the podcast, when you open the podcast episode, let me say. So when you are listening, if you want to, let's say you are listening, let me open it.
Pieces where his early physics lectures, he has one and where he basically explains mathematics in 3 pages. He starts from number line counting, and then he goes all the way up to pre-calculus, and he just builds it up through an unbroken.
Yeah, so I will show you the Snipd, how it snipped it. I will go to the snips. Yeah. So I will just go to any one of them. What I really like, let me see. Okay. what I really like about Snipd is that you can see by the speaker. So with this, it means that you can, when you export this, we will talk about the export in a few minutes, you can really understand who is talking and who is the main person and who is the host, etc. And especially when you have more than one guest, more than one person in a podcast, then this really becomes important. Another thing that I like about Snipd is that there is a summary of the chapter that you have snipped about. So, and this summary is also available to export. And we will talk about the export in a few minutes. But so this is also available, and I think if you just want to have a look what's going on in the chapter, if the podcast has long chapters, then this is a very useful way to understand what's going on in that chapter. So instead of going back and forth in the minutes, it really is very easy to navigate in the episode itself. Okay. Yes. Another thing that I really like is the edit part. So let's say you snipped it or you highlighted it, and you can change the start and the end of the snip, as you can see. So if you go like here, it will expand it, or if you go down, it will condense it more. And so this is very helpful, because many times, especially when I'm listening to a podcast, when I'm walking, I take note that I should maybe listen to 10-15 seconds prior to the highlight. And when you are able to edit like this, so I will just take a note for myself, and if I need to edit it, I will edit it, maybe expand it a little bit, and then when I export, I will have the full correct transcript that I'm really looking for. So I think this is a very, very important positive side. Okay, so coming to the features that I think that Snip needs to improve on is, if you go to, let me see, yes. So if you go to the subscriptions and you say import, you can import your favorite podcasts from all these that are listed. But I think what's missing here is actually the Spotify import. I know Spotify is a bit rigid in providing import ability to podcast apps, but I have seen it done, and actually this was available in Momento as well. So I think this is really something that Snipd really should be looking into. Another thing that really needs improvement is I haven't seen ability to customize the earphones. So like normally if you tap twice it will snip it, but if I want to change how to snip, how long to snip, or etc. with each tap, I should be able to customize this. So, and these are the two things that I really think that Snipd should be trying to improve upon, because this is where you get all the elasticity and how you can really play around with this. Okay, so now let's have a look at the export ability of Snipd. Now, if you go to the export menu, you will see that there are three. Let me just make this a little bigger. There are three export options that you can use. One is the Readwise, one is the Obsidian, and one is the Markdown. Now, Readwise, when you click on Readwise, I have taken my token out of here for privacy purposes, but it's very straightforward. I will not show you how to connect, but when you just click it says find your Readwise access token here, and if you have the Readwise app on your phone, it will just show you the token, and you can just copy paste the token here, and this is what will enable you to have the connection. So as you can see, what I really like about it is that you can choose if you want the summary or the transcript or whichever one you want, and once you have the token, it will make the integration automatically each time you have a Snipd, and it really works flawlessly. The Obsidian one is also similar, but it has even more granularity. So when you say export, you see you can see all the Snipds separately. You can select them all at once, or deselect and just choose which ones you want. Let's say I just want these two and maybe these two, and then when I say done, you see it again asks me if I want the summary, the transcript, and the episode information. So I have a lots of flexibility on what I want to export. So when I say export, I just have to go and find Obsidian. And what I really like also about Obsidian is that you can choose a file to insert, or you can insert into a daily note or into a journal. I will not insert it now because I had inserted it before. As you can see, I will say cancel, and this is what it looks like, at least on the Android. As you can see, you have the transcript, you have the speakers and how it is showing. So it's really powerful, and then you can just either on your phone or on your computer go ahead and edit and work on your notes. So the Obsidian one is also quite powerful. I think the only part that needs some working on is the markdown bit, because I did have some not maybe trouble, but I did have to really try and make the markdown work. So when I say export Snipd to markdown, it's similar to Obsidian. I can select all of them, select done. I think I was not able to. Yes. Now when I say export, what it will do is it will create a text file which I was able to send off through my Gmail and or Google Drive. But the thing is that when I imported this into for example Notion, I was not really able to get I will show you. I was not able to get, sorry about this, let me show you. So this is how when I imported directly from the import function here, this is So you see the transcripts did not come, but what you have to do is you have to open up the text file, copy and paste it into Notion. But I think that's really a lot of friction. It's still something, I mean, but I think it's a lot of friction, so it doesn't really. I think Snipd has to work on this a little bit. I did have a quick chat about this, and they said that they are working on it, so I think this is good news. But if you are a Notion user, I think this will be not an ideal solution for you. So just to wrap things up, I think for Obsidian, it creates a let me just go back to my main page. Yeah. So for Readwise and Obsidian, I think the Snipd export highlights work flawlessly, and it's very easy to use. But I think for Markdown, there's still ways to go. But I still think that Snipd, being a free app, especially in this highlight and note-taking space, it's a very powerful app. I really enjoy using it, but they have some improvements to go, and I think that completes my review for Snipd. Please join me in my third video, where I will explain and talk about my opinion on Snipd and Momento. Thank you very much.